Once upon a time, nestled between two towering mountains, there were two villages separated by a deep, rushing river. On one side lay the village of Eloria, a place filled with golden fields, hardworking farmers, and skilled craftsmen. On the other side was the village of Duskmere, where people lived in harmony with nature, raising animals and gathering fruits from the dense forest. Though both villages were prosperous in their own ways, there was one problem. They never spoke to each other. The villagers of Eloria believed that the people of Duskmere were wild and untrustworthy, while the villagers of Duskmere thought that the people of Eloria were arrogant and selfish. For generations, they had lived apart, never crossing the river, never speaking, and never sharing. No one remembered how the divide had started, only that it had always been this way. It was an unspoken rule. The river was the border, and no one dared cross it. Despite the long-standing rule, two young children from each village were drawn to the river. Theo, a bright-eyed boy from Eloria, often wandered near the riverbanks, watching the water rush past and wondering what lay beyond. He imagined grand adventures on the other side, mystical creatures, unknown lands, and maybe, just maybe, people who weren't so different after all. On the other side, Lila, a curious girl from Duskmere, would climb the tallest tree near the river to catch glimpses of Eloria's golden fields. She had heard stories about Eloria's people, how they built great structures, how they crafted tools with skill and precision. She wondered if they were truly as cold-hearted as her village claimed. One day, after a strong storm, the river swelled and washed away parts of both villages' land. Crops were ruined in Eloria, and many of Duskmere's animals were lost. Both villages were struggling, but their stubbornness prevented them from seeking help from each other. They would rather suffer than break tradition. One afternoon, Theo found a small wooden boat, half buried in the mud by the river. It was old and broken, but something inside him told him that this could be his chance. Carefully, he pulled it free and started fixing it with whatever materials he could find. At the same time, Lila was gathering fallen branches and weaving them into strong ropes, hoping to create a way to cross the river without getting swept away. When the two children spotted each other from across the river, they hesitated. They had never spoken before, but something was different now. They weren't thinking about old stories or village rivalries. They were thinking about survival. They were thinking about how they could help each other. Theo raised a hand in greeting. Lila hesitated, then waved back. That simple gesture changed everything. Instead of using the boat or the ropes alone, they decided to work together. Each day, they met at the river's edge, finding fallen logs, tying them together with vines, and slowly forming a small bridge. They knew they had to work in secret because if their villages found out, they might be stopped. At first, it was slow. Theo would push logs into the river while Lila tied them down with ropes she had woven. They communicated through gestures, short words, and shared determination. As the days passed, their fear of each other disappeared. They laughed together when the current pulled a log too far downstream. They cheered when a part of the bridge held firm. Through their work, they discovered more about each other. Lila shared how Duskmere villagers respected nature and only took what was needed, while Theo talked about Eloria's deep traditions of craftsmanship and building. They realized that both villages had strengths, and neither was better or worse than the other. As the bridge neared completion, an elderly man from Duskmere spotted them. Instead of scolding them, he watched in silence. He saw not just two children building a bridge, but two hearts mending a broken past. He returned to his village and shared what he had seen. Soon, word spread to Eloria as well. At first, the villagers were outraged. They argued that the children were breaking traditions, that the past should not be forgotten. "What if they betray us?" someone from Eloria shouted. "What if they trick us?" a Duskmere elder questioned. But when the villagers approached the river and saw the bridge standing strong, their anger turned into something unexpected: curiosity. One by one, they stepped forward, touching the wooden beams, seeing the strength in what Theo and Lila had built. An elder from Eloria spoke. "For years, we have lived apart, afraid of what lies beyond. But if two children can build a bridge, why can't we?" It was a question no one could answer, for deep inside, they knew there was no reason to stay divided. The following day, the villagers of Eloria brought food from their farms, and the villagers of Duskmere brought fresh fruits and herbs. For the first time in history, they shared a meal together on the bridge. Laughter replaced silence, and kindness replaced fear. Over time, the small wooden bridge was replaced by a strong stone one, built by both villages working together. The bridge became more than just a crossing. It became a symbol of unity, a reminder that differences don't have to divide people. The villagers learned new skills from one another. Eloria's craftsmen helped Duskmere build better homes, while Duskmere's people taught Eloria how to grow medicinal herbs. Trade flourished, friendships blossomed, and soon the past animosities faded away. And so, Theo and Lila's dream of connecting their villages became a reality, not because of words or rules, but because of courage. The courage to reach out, to trust, and to build something together. Years later, Theo and Lila, now grown, stood on the bridge they had once built with their own hands. Children from both villages played together. Merchants crossed freely, and the river was no longer a barrier but a source of life and unity. From that day on, the villages of Eloria and Duskmere were no longer just neighbors. They were one community, forever linked by the bridge of friendship.